Before we move on and talk about handling success and failure, I want you to know that these asynchronous operations could spawn asynchronous operations themselves. Really, any anonymous methods could use the async and await keywords. This means that the anonymous method that task.run and continue with use could be marked as async and introduce continuations inside of them using the await keyword. Keep in mind, if you do, the continuation within the asynchronous operation will execute on the same thread as your task did, not on the UI thread. That is extremely important. Let's say that we found a way to read a file asynchronously. We could then easily change the code and use the async and await keywords without having to change much else in the application. We can use the same approach as the data store uses to read files asynchronously. In the anonymous method that reads the file, let's use this alternative approach that we've seen inside the data store. We're going to start off by opening a stream to a file that we have on disk. This provides us with a way to asynchronously read each line in that file. To be capable of awaiting each line, we must mark the anonymous method as async. Marking an anonymous method as async means that the anonymous method will automatically return a task. So don't worry, this won't be async void. This is now using the async and await keywords inside the task itself. Using task.run, we created an asynchronous operation that will run somewhere else. This operation is now capable in its turn to create and properly await other asynchronous operations. When all the lines have been read from the file, the anonymous method can return this list back to whoever's listening for the result. This can then be processed inside the continuation. The application still allows us to search for the stocks. We combined running code at a separate thread using a task, as well as inside the task use the async and await keywords to see how we could interact with other asynchronous code. It illustrates that if we create an asynchronous operation, that operation in its turn can create new asynchronous operations. Next up, we'll talk more about continuations and how you can have separate continuations for success or failure. Handling errors is really a good idea, and chaining on a final continuation that only executes once there's a problem would be appropriate. Understanding that and how to capture and handle exceptions will be covered next.